Here's a pretty big one, just sitting right on the ground. Oh, look at that.
My name's Griffin, and I live in this SUV. My favorite way to explore is by looking for rocks. But before we get into it, I had the location wrong in my last video. That was actually the Oregon Valley in Idaho. I was trying to edit two videos at the same time, and it wasn't going well. So this time we're actually going to be at Graveyard Point in Oregon. And at the end of the video, I'm going to include some screenshots and maps to try to explain how to get to Graveyard Point, because it can be tricky to find the exact spot of where to go to in here.
So let me explain Graveyard Point real quick and what it is. Graveyard Point is on the border of Idaho and Oregon in the southwest corner. I think currently I'm actually in Oregon right now, but I'm really not quite too sure. Let me just show you exactly what it is that we're looking for, which are called plume agates. And during all my time traveling, I haven't really come across anything that looks quite like these ones yet. Let me take you to just a couple that I found on the ground so far, and these are pretty much only 20 feet from my car. I haven't even gotten the door closed yet.
So besides the fact it's had some recent volcanic activity, I really don't know a whole ton about the geology of Oregon or Idaho, so bear with me. But what I do know for sure is that this is definitely a plume agate that you can find at Graveyard Point, and from that, I knew I was in the right spot.
I think this has got to be the right spot. I'm seeing lots of this, which these are big man-made holes. At least it looks like it's pretty man-made, and there's other ones nearby.
If you guys have watched my other videos, you know that I normally battle wind noise quite a bit, and this was especially true at this place. So I'm just going to do some voiceover, throw some music in the background, and it'll be more of a relaxed one, I think. And luckily, to keep things interesting, the further and further I go from my car, I end up finding some bigger agates. So let me know if you like this one.
I'm just tempted to go get a saw and start slicing all these apart to see what they look like. This is so neat out here. I love it.
Once I got higher up in the hills, material changed from that plume agate to this kind of like white chalcedony type stuff, and I found quite a bit of this.
Here's another one. The same kind of clear material. I know I'm not doing the greatest of jobs to show it on camera, but it's just everywhere on the top of this hill. You can even see this right down here. There's a big one sitting right in the ground. Oh, wow. That is so cool. Oh, check that out. The whole thing is just see-through, and it's, oh wow. Look at that. Right here, this one is, oh, I think I might need the pick. My fingers are also very cold. It's not very warm at all here, but check that out. I know we got to get these cleaned up, but that is crazy that these are just everywhere out here. And look at this little friend right here next to it. I know it may not seem like much if you don't know much about agates or what it is that I'm looking for or why I'm out here. But I hiked my ass up a creek full of thorns and stood in freezing cold water for 4 hours in Washington and didn't find anything close to this size or even the intensity of the colors or I don't know, the things that I like to look for. So to see all this kind of in one spot so abundant is bizarre, and I'm super glad I came out and stopped here.
And this one right here has to be one of my absolute favorite agates I've ever found. It has these big botryoidal formations, and you can kind of see how this thing may have cooled down really slowly a very long time ago. And I just love looking at this one.
Forgot that one of my doors is open and the keys are definitely still in the ignition. I should probably go fix that. One moment. Here's another big one. Oh yeah, look at that.
This was one of the thicker ones that I found for the day, and most of the stuff at Graveyard Point is a seam agate, so it grows in kind of long, narrow strips rather than these big blocks. So I was surprised to find one this big.
Oh wow, this one's really vibrant and bright. Trying to... Yeah, look at that. I pulled this one out of the ground before I started recording, but I think this is a decent one. It's got a pretty big size to it. I couldn't see any bands or anything in it, but if it's not an agate, it's probably a pretty big, colorful ball of chalcedony. But right down here actually is a pretty interesting looking piece. Look at that. It's got full circles and big twists and bands to it. There's another good one right over here next to it.
Now here, let me show you the coolest one that I found all day.
Damn, here's a pretty big one, just sitting right on the ground. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
And I told myself that I'd wait till the end to show the footage of it all cleaned up, but this one is just super special, and I love the way how it looks, especially in the light.
Here's a cool looking chunk right here. It's not very big, but it has a really neat texture to it. You can see just big bubbles right on the surface of it. This one's kind of small, but it looks pretty intricate. It's got another one right beneath it. It's kind of thin, but I think I'll keep it. It's got some cool color to it. So as you come down from the hill, there's kind of a material transition that happens. It goes from near the top of the hill, you have these more transparent and clear looking agates, and then kind of towards the bottom and where my car is, you find this, which I believe these are the plume agates that the area is kind of known for. So I definitely want a few really big ones of each if I can. So I'm going to be taking this one with me. This is one of the bigger ones that I've seen of the plume kind. Most of them are about this size, at least in the spot where I am. This is the first one I've seen with red coming out of it. I don't know if it's actually an agate or not, but it's pretty big. Either way, it's got some really cool colors to it, and that's the first thing like that I've seen out here. So I'll take that with me too. Sorry I didn't record this, but look at that. The texture of that is amazing. It has just all these little winding caverns within it, and has a cool kind of color transition from the more yellowish up top, which I'm not sure if that's surface staining or what, but either way, this would be a really fun one to clean up and cut some big long slabs off the top vertically of. And this right here kind of caught my attention. It's pretty buried, but it seems like it could be big. Come on. Oh yeah. That surface texture is really intriguing. So in total, I think I've got right around 20 pounds worth of stuff coming out of here. I don't want to take more than I need, but I think I'll be able to trade a lot of this stuff back home for other things that I may not be able to easily get my hands on.
And before I left, I ended up just tossing back a few pieces that I kind of had duplicates of, or they were just kind of too small to end up really doing anything with. So I launched those back too. And here's what we've been waiting for, which is everything all cleaned up and instructions on how to get here. Alright, so here's the rundown on how to get to Graveyard Point, or at least how I got here. It really wasn't as bad as other people said. I just started at this Idaho Sporting Clays place, and I put that into maps, then headed about a half mile south of there, and crossed the river on this little bridge. And then this is where it gets tricky. Just make sure you take the center road here. It's all dirt, but the left and right road, those are both private property, but the middle one takes you onto public land, which is where Graveyard Point is. And from there, just follow this road, kind of like I'm doing here. And the area itself it's pretty muddy after it rains, but it was nice and dry for me. If it's dry, you can maybe make it in a car. Otherwise, I definitely recommend something all-wheel drive for sure. It's not too choppy though. Anyways, here's my marker that I put down. And yeah, there's some GPS coordinates for you in a couple different formats if you want it. But from here, I just headed west, and there's just a little hill, and I went kind of as far as I could get up the hill. And then I'm kind of zoomed in where I think I ended up stopping. And just a quick bonus, if you're somehow still watching, if you end up going too far and you pass Graveyard Point, you actually hit a dead end called Sucker Creek. And there you can actually find some decent agates that are a completely different variety than what you'll find up at Graveyard Point itself. If you made it all the way to the end and you want to help the channel grow, feel free to leave a like. Or if you want to see where I head to next, go ahead and click subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.